is Bet Stars and Stripes with Dr. Turf, Ed Wyatt and Alice Gander.
Welcome to Bet Stars and Stripes for another Sunday night. You can take a Betstar on at betstar.com. Going to welcome our panel straight off the back. Going to start first of all with Alice Gander. And Alice, I welcome you. Can you shed any light to us before we get going on the Piero madness of the last hour? The will he or won't he?
Oh, geez, it's just all completely up in the air, to be honest. We've just pulled the market down just to save confusion. There's no upside in having a market up like that because people that are less informed are going to bet into the market, and more often than not, they're probably going to be the ones who are grieved. So our mentality is let's just pull the market down and let the dust settle. But there's been a smell about it. There's definitely been a smell about it. The market's moved, and Piero's just kept drifting for the last 24 hours and continues to drift, so looking unlikely.
And evening, everybody. And we are told, though, that he's just shortened as well, just in the last... that's me.
That's more news on it right there, I think. Better check it.
It was from a racing person.
So I did hear that I think Andrew Bensley came out not too long ago and apparently spoke to Gay herself in the last hour, and Gay's confirmed that Piero will be running. I'm still... money would suggest that... that there is something that's a little amiss.
Just looking at the horse, when I saw him at Moonee Valley when he won the Stut Stakes 3 weeks ago, he in a great deal of condition on him. Now, some horses race lean. I hadn't seen the horse much. I think I'd never seen him before, to be honest, other than on the telly. Now, I had a good look at him again on Saturday. He's a nice colt, but he's not a striking colt. But again... Gee, there ain't much there. I mean, physique-wise. I mean, what I'm saying is he's had a bit of a prep now. He's 4 or 5 runs in. I wouldn't be surprised if he was getting towards the end of that preparation. He didn't look to have much improvement in him, physique-wise anyway. So I wouldn't be surprised. But, with the smoke, there's blue cod. And as Al said, they've taken the market down at Betstar. And I noticed he got out to ridiculous odds today on some of the on the exchange, out to $11 odd. But he's back in again. So there's something going wrong out there because, of course...
Plus Craig Williams not taking the ride anymore
I would just keep the queue in the rack and just wait 24 hours, and then you'll have full information, and when you have full information, then bet into the market.
It was famously when Hoobie got you, which I had a bit of a run-in with his trainer, Mark Kavanagh, a couple of years ago when he got out. He was, I think, $8 to win the Cox Plate, and I just turned on the exchange, and he was $17. And I pulled Mark on tally, mind you, and asked him about it.
Saw that.
To say he had his nose out of joint would have been an understatement. Because
You've upset someone, Doc. That doesn't happen often, does it?
To upset a trainer of his standing takes a little bit of doing.
We also welcome Ed Wyatt. Ed, thank you for joining us tonight as well.
No problem, Darren. Nothing to shed, no light on Piero, but it was more about Del Piero for me on the weekend, but certainly a memorable weekend. And in American sport as well, too, which we have plenty to talk about.
Yeah, well, we're right. The division series is over, and now it's into the leagues, and the York Yankees stumbled their way through the ALDS, but I don't know how they got through your team, the Orioles, but they did. They couldn't score a run to save themselves, and the same thing happened today. I know they ended up going in extra innings because they punched a few out in the ninth, but they left so many runners on bases today. It was embarrassing for them.
It was an amazing, it was Bud Selig's dream postseason. All 4 series went to 5 games.
Yeah.
There were wacky plays. There was great pitching. There were home runs. How about the Nationals taking a 2-run lead into the ninth, a 1 out away from a World Series. First postseason play since 1933, and they give up 4 runs to the Cardinals. And I tell you what, you want to talk about a deflated crowd. I was watching that, and they just went from this ready to party, let's get the confetti out, to just silence.
Because they won 98 games this year, didn't they?
Best record in baseball.
Yeah.
Best record in baseball. We're leading 6-0. And then 9, then end up losing at 9-7.
Ouch.
The locker rooms wouldn't have been a pleasant place to be in after the match.
Can you imagine? That's the thing about baseball too. You were so close. You still got to get that out. Earl Weaver, the great manager of the Orioles, said a great thing about baseball. He said you can't take a knee. You can't run out the clock. You've got to actually throw 3 balls past a guy to end the game.
To win the match. Yeah, it's funny watching the. I was looking on Betstar before the Orioles series with the Yankees, the ALDS, And the Yankees to win the American League were $2.20. They beat the Orioles and were $2.10 with you guys, Betstar, to win. So they're actually virtually the same price, despite the fact they're dispensed with the Orioles.
It's amazing, isn't it?
So clearly wasn't a great deal of confidence.
No,
the Yankees
that's
going
right.
into the
market. The market's landed now. So,
Yeah, how is it?
Well, so we've got tomorrow morning's game. The Cardinals taking on the Giants. The Giants are playing at home and favourite as you'd expect, $1.72. The Cardinals $2.15. The line there is 1.5, and the overs and unders is 7. But I think, Ed, what you were probably asking is the market for the World Series. So the market
because
for the World...
last week, sorry to interrupt, Al, I did say the Giants. Remember,
You did?
if you remember,
You
I
did?
did say the Giants, a good team that lost those 2 at home, but suddenly got on track.
You're,
so very
you're
curious.
clouded with your support for your own team.
It's hard to split. I mean, Detroit's up 1-0, so they're $2.70 favourite as you'd expect, and then the others are hard to split. The Cardinals $4, the Giants are $4.25, and the Yankees $4.75.
Right, there you go. Tigers are favourites.
So, and National League? You're still
I think
sticking
the
with
Giants.
the
I mean, the
Giants.
Cardinals. Obviously, what they've done was it's something like 7 times they've faced elimination games and won,
Yeah.
which is unbelievable. Defending World Series champs, but I do like the Giants. There's just something about that team. I think it's they've done it before, and they've had some dodgy pitching throughout the year, and suddenly that turns. When Lincecum comes on again after having a bad year, suddenly look out. That's going to be a hard team to beat.
Here's a question without notice. When was the last time a baseball team and an NFL team
From the same-
were from the same city? Because, I mean, the 49ers are playing some good football, so there's some chance in the NFL. The Giants some chance in the Major League Baseball.
Red Sox, Patriots, maybe some of our genius fans out there listening, like Greg in West Meadows, for example,
I
might be
remind
able
you
to come
of
up with it.
an old sporting story from here in Melbourne. This is going back 40 years. But district cricket used to be very big, which the grade cricket, they call it in
Yes.
Sydney. And one particular year, must have been, it was either 68 or 69, Carlton was back to win the district cricket and also the VFL Premiership. They duly won the VFL Premiership. So what was that? Was that 68 or 69, Dash?
1968.
68. So they won the VFL Premiership in 68. Carlton were playing in a Sheffield Shield semi-final in the 68-69 cricket season. Were bundled out for 168, and they were playing University, a team which had a very young Paul Sheehan, who ended up being a star batsman for Australia. Overnight, somebody put a block of ice on the pitch. And just on a length, and the University were bowled out for 68, and Carlton ended up winning. So
That's a great
I
story.
think something untoward may have happened in that particular district cricket game there. Who's going to be the Bill Buckner of the World Series?
It comes up so many times, doesn't it? Guys that are villains, as they say here, goats, they say in America, a hero and a goat, hero and a villain. Someone's going to, you're going to see it because it happens. Baseball is so funny that way with the quirky little things that can happen.
Another one of those great ESPN 30 for 30 tacos was on that one.
So why don't we have a look back through some of the results of last weekend? We'll start off with the Indianapolis game against Green Bay Packers, who are in a spot of bother now after losing that game. But I think the story around this game was not only the fact that Indianapolis won. They were outsider, by the way. They were $3.40. Green Bay were $1.33. But Reggie Wayne, the whole head coach, being in hospital, diagnosed with, I think it was leukemia, and then him saying, we're going to win a game for you, I'm going to bring the game ball back to you. And
Green Bay jumped them, though, didn't they? They got out to a big
Yes,
lead from
they
what
were
I
out
was.
early.
It wasn't 21-3 or something. It was
Sounds right. It was an
some
early
big
lead.
early,
Yeah.
and I don't know whether they just relaxed, but Indianapolis just took control after that.
And as we said all along, Andrew Luck is just a superb rookie quarterback. Doesn't look like a rookie there. Thrown to a guy like Reggie Wayne, who is just a remarkable receiver, old veteran. Even though they're rebuilding, it's a nice little blend of some young guys and some older guys. So I think they're gonna scare a few people. And I was just reading something. Their next 5 games are really winnable games. So conceivably, this team that we thought might win 2 or 3, which is now 2-2, could be 7-2, 6-3, which puts them remotely in a wild card chase.
What's the biggest from a team that finishes? Well, they were 32nd last year. What's the biggest climb back up the ladder in 1 year?
It's a great question. It's been done a fair bit in the NFL only because it's got that built-in draft and salary cap system, so you can see a team bounce back pretty quickly. But yeah, I don't know in terms of from a 1-15 to like 15-1. I don't think that's happened, but it's
What
certainly
about
been some climbs.
Is it always the quarterback goes number one? Always? In the history
Often,
of the
we've
draft?
had some defensive players, we've had some running backs, but it's normally is a quarterback because that's seen as the best way to rebuild your team. You need an essential quarterback.
What about, Doc, what are your thoughts on Brady Manning head-to-head? It looks like Brady just keeps running away from this. I think he's up 9-4 now. He's building on his lead. Is that something that Manning's going to be able to claw back?
I wouldn't have thought so. He's running out of time, isn't he?
He is running out of time, yeah, you're right. And New England's had the wood over Denver, thumped them twice last year. Now they've been real. Denver came on in that game. Actually had a chance to climb back in, and there was a McGahee fumbled as they were driving on about the 15-yard line. So I think Denver has survived a very, very difficult schedule, and at the moment they're 2-3 out of 5 really tough games. In fact, their 3 losses, I believe, are to New England, Houston, and Atlanta, who are the 2 undefeated teams. So that's their 3 losses. It's going to get a lot easier for the Broncos. Manning's starting to get into a decent form. The receivers are catching the football. I think the Broncos are going to be just fine. Yes, I'm biased. Yes, it's my team. I'll throw that out there. But I think they're going to be okay, and that AFC West is not a great division.
You just touched on Atlanta. Did you expect them, Ed, to be undefeated at this stage of the season?
Atlanta?
Yeah.
I did not. Good team, solid team. Didn't expect them to be undefeated. They've been doing everything right. Matt Ryan, as we've talked about on the show a couple times, has been remarkable. Got some good receivers to throw to. Good, well-coached unit. They got the Raiders this week, and that's a big game for the Raiders, but I can't see Atlanta losing this one either.
Yeah.
What about the one I think we've mentioned fleetingly every single week, Chicago?
Just keep
winning.
Just
Not
keep
only
doing
keep winning, but they smashed them. They were $1.40 favourite. Yes, fair enough. But they won. They beat Jacksonville 41-3, and keep firming in the Super Bowl market. I mean, are they a chance?
I think they are, and I've had a lot of people on Twitter ask me that, and friends. Certainly, a lot more Bear fans are popping up around Melbourne. I got to be honest. I knew a couple. Now there seem to be more sort of coming out of the woodwork, but that happens when you have a good year, and I don't blame people for that. Absolutely, Jay Cutler healthy. Defense healthy. I think they're a very, very good football team.
This week, are they? Chicago.
They may have the bye this week. Do they? Yeah, okay. That's good. That's comes at a decent time. They all fired up and come back next week ready to roll.
I think all sports are the same, aren't they? Your team wins, or a team wins a couple of games, and everyone comes out of the woodwork. All of a sudden, the scarves are out, and the beanies are out, and the caps are out.
That is universal. You're absolutely right.
Agreed.
Now, I know they're up again overnight, the Jets as well, but a lot of people asking the question on the situation around Sanchez and his battles and their overall battles and what comes of that.
Well, Rex was interesting in the post-match, wasn't he, when he said he wasn't as bad as the scoreboard reflected. Now, I know what he's saying because there were a couple of mistakes made. There was, I think, almost like a red zone fumble there where they were going to score, the Jets, but gee, there was a lot of poor passing as well from Sanchez. Tebow came on and just rushed one, but
made a nice long run.
He did,
used him on and to get a first down on a punt.
He got a touchdown, didn't he?
No, I don't think he scored, but he ran a real nice play along.
So they were better, the Jets.
They were better against the best team, arguably, in the NFL. So that's a hard one to get a measure on, which is why I think when people are saying get Tebow win now.
But haven't they lost more injuries? They haven't got more injured players this week, the Jets?
So they're running around favourites. So this is where pressure comes along. Like, I think if you're an outsider and you lose, even if there is some pressure on your team, then you can probably cop that on the chin. But the Jets are $1.55. Indianapolis are coming to New York to play them. They're $2.52. The line is 3.5, and the overs and unders are 44. But
interesting.
All of a sudden, there are twos on chance. There are twos on favourite to win the game. I think that if they get beat in that instance, I wouldn't want to be Sanchez. I mean, it starts to get very, very
No. I agree. Home game. You got the Colts coming in. You know, the New York has traditionally been a tough place to play with that defense. Rookie quarterback, even though it is Andrew Luck coming in. I agree with you. If Sanchez can't get it done this week, then I think. Again, once you commit to Tebow,